The studio lights of Today with Jenna and Friends burned hot that morning, but no one expected the heat to come from Teddy Swims. The soulful singer, known for his heartfelt lyrics and humble demeanor, arrived at the set with his usual mix of charm and nerves. Jenna Bush Hager greeted him warmly during rehearsal, cracking light jokes and teasing the surprise segment they had in store. Everything seemed in order, but once the cameras rolled, something shifted. From the opening moments, the energy felt off. Jenna, riding high from a recent ratings win, leaned heavily into her usual upbeat teasing style, but her light-hearted prodding about Teddy's tattoos and emotional lyrics landed differently than intended. At first, Teddy chuckled and played along, but when Jenna commented, "You're like the teddy bear with tears due, you cry more than you sing," the audience laughed, while Teddy's smile faltered. Asterisk, what was meant to be playful quickly turned uncomfortable. Teddy paused before answering, visibly trying to gauge whether to laugh it off or address the tone. "I think music's how I handle real feelings," he replied carefully, voice quieter than usual. Jenna nodded, but pressed further. "Right. But don't you think sometimes that kind of vulnerability becomes a persona? Like, do you ever feel like you're selling sadness?" The studio went silent. Teddy blinked slowly, then let out a soft, incredulous chuckle. "Selling sadness," he repeated, eyes narrowing slightly. "Nah, I think it's just being real. Some folks sing about trucks, I sing about heartbreak. Doesn't mean it's a gimmick." The tension was palpable. Jenna, perhaps realizing she'd touched a nerve, tried to pivot. "No offense meant. I just think it's fascinating how you've made sadness marketable. That's powerful," she said with a tight smile, but the damage had already been done. Asterisk, as the segment progressed, Teddy's mood continued to deteriorate. A pre-recorded clip of his latest performance aired, followed by a question from co-host Michelle. "Some say you filled the void left by artists like Adele and Sam Smith. Do you ever feel pressure to cry on command?" That was the moment. Teddy's patience broke. He removed his earpiece slowly and leaned forward. "Y'all invited me here to talk about my album, right? Not to dissect my emotions like I'm some kind of sad clown for TV." Jenna attempted to interject, "Teddy, we love your music." This is meant to celebrate, but Teddy stood up. "I'm not here to be your segment on feelings for ratings. I'm out." And just like that, live on national television. He walked off stage. The camera caught Jenna's stunned face, her mouth slightly open, hands frozen mid-gesture. The audience gasped, unsure if it was staged or real. Asterisk, behind the scenes, chaos erupted. Producers scrambled to fill airtime while stage managers rushed after Teddy, who was already headed toward the elevators. An assistant tried to hand him a water bottle, which he declined with a curt shake of the head. He didn't yell, didn't slam any doors, but his silence spoke louder than any rant. Back on air, Jenna tried to recover with a shaky laugh. "Well, folks, live TV. Things happen," she said, her tone forced. "We love Teddy and wish him the best." But social media had already exploded. Within minutes, clips of the walk-off were trending on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Hashtags like hashtag Teddy Swims Unfiltered and hashtag Today Show fail trended worldwide. Fans were split. Some praised Teddy for standing up for himself, while others criticized him for being too sensitive on a friendly show. Asterisk, later that day, Teddy took to Instagram Live, sitting in a dimly lit room. His voice was calm but resolute. "I came to that show to talk about music, my art, my journey. Not to be psychoanalyzed like I'm some crybaby marketing strategy. I've worked too hard, been too real, to let anyone turn me into a headline cliche." He didn't name Jenna or Michelle directly, but everyone knew who he was referring to. "I'm not mad," he added, "just disappointed. I expected better." Thousands of fans flooded the comments with support. Even other artists chimed in. Country star Kelsey Ballerini commented, "Respect." R&B legend John Legend reposted the video with a caption, "Feelings aren't for ratings. They're for healing." By evening, media outlets were publishing conflicting headlines, some calling it a breakdown, others a breakthrough. Asterisk, Jenna, meanwhile, stayed off social media for a full 24 hours before posting a carefully worded apology. On yesterday's show, "My comments may have come across as insensitive. That was never my intent. I have deep respect for Teddy Swims and his vulnerability as an artist. I'm sorry if I crossed a line. Reactions to her statement were mixed. Critics called it half-hearted. Supporters insisted she meant well, and that live TV pressure often leads to missteps. NBC execs remained silent, but an internal memo reportedly circulated urging on-air talent to balance lightness with respect during interviews. Some staffers admitted off the record that they were stunned by how fast the situation escalated. "We didn't see it coming," one producer said. "Teddy always seemed chill, but looking back, yeah, maybe we did push too hard." Asterisk, the next day's episode opened without mention of the incident. No acknowledgement, no follow-up. Just another cheerful opening about fall recipes and feel-good stories. But audiences weren't ready to move on. Ratings dipped slightly. Viewers, POSTED, online saying they felt gaslit by the show's lack of accountability. Meanwhile, Teddy's streams surged. His latest single shot up the Spotify viral charts. Ticket sales for his upcoming tours doubled in 2 days. What was meant to be a harmless morning appearance had become a full-blown cultural flashpoint. Debate raged across talk shows, reaction channels, and podcasts. Was this another example of TV exploiting vulnerability? Or was it a misunderstanding between two media personalities caught in the spotlight? While Teddy's fanbase rallied around him, calling the incident a watershed moment for artists reclaiming their narratives, the industry buzzed behind closed doors. Publicists and showrunners began re-evaluating the tone of their interviews. Late-night hosts like Jimmy Fallon and Trevor Noah joked about the walk-off, but even they acknowledged on air that maybe daytime TV should stop treating guests like therapy clients. Kelly Clarkson, herself a fellow artist and talk show host, posted a supportive tweet. "We invite artists into our space. That space should be safe. Teddy, keep being you." That tweet alone garnered over 400,000 likes and opened a broader conversation about how emotional expression is often mishandled in public-facing formats. By the end of the week, morning shows across networks were forced to reflect on their approach to vulnerability and celebrity. Asterisk inside NBC, however, things were anything but reflective. Executives at Today with Jenna and Friends were furious, not at Teddy, but at their own team. Emails leaked to media outlets showed internal disputes between senior producers and talent managers. One heated message read, "We told them not to touch the sadness angle. Now look." Jenna Bush Hager, who had always been seen as a likable, inoffensive host, suddenly found herself under a different kind of spotlight. Critics accused her of soft manipulation, of weaponizing warmth to coax out viral moments. Commentators like Charlemagne, The God, and Wendy Williams, in a podcast return cameo, criticized the segment as fake-friendly with a stinger. Jenna's PR team scrambled, releasing an official statement that described her questions as misguided but well-meaning, and pledged to grow and learn. But the apology felt like damage. Meanwhile, Teddy's team had decisions to make. Offers poured in. Appearances on The View, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, even a sit-down with Oprah were floated. But Teddy declined all of them. Instead, he focused on what mattered most to him, the music. He released an acoustic version of his newest track, Bear, which he performed live on Instagram with no lights, no production, just him, his voice, and a single guitar. The lyrics, which included the line, "I was never your morning headline, just a soul trying to breathe," struck deep. Within hours, the video had over 7 million views. Comments flooded in, raw, honest, needed. Publications like Rolling Stone and Billboard praised the moment as a rare act of post-fame integrity. Teddy was no longer just a singer, he had become a symbol. Asterisk, Jenna, despite maintaining a cheerful front on air, was feeling the pressure. Behind the scenes, she was asked to undergo sensitivity media training, a move she quietly resented. Been on TV for 10 years, she vented to a friend off the record. "One moment, and now I'm the villain." She began to second-guess her instincts, even stumbling awkwardly during future interviews with other artists. Viewers noticed comment threads under YouTube clips WEREL.divided. Some felt she was trying too hard to be politically correct now, while others said she hadn't shown true accountability. Rumors began swirling that NBC was considering rotating co-hosts to refresh the show's dynamic. One insider said bluntly, Jenna's brand got bruised. This might be the beginning of a shift. The network didn't confirm anything, but they didn't deny it either. Asterisk things took another turn when a video surfaced from 6 months prior, an unaired behind-the-scenes moment where Jenna had joked off-camera about how much we can make. An artist cried the backlash. Although meant as sarcasm, many interpreted it as proof of intentional emotional baiting. A new hashtag began trending, #tears for ratings. Petitions circulated moment had ballooned into a national media reckoning.